Good evening. It's 7 o'clock. The room is just filled. Thank you. 300 capacity. Sir, please go live
Yes, sir. Yes,
after
absolutely.
the introduction. Please call Jarvis. Thank you.
Yes. Good evening to all. I welcome you all again, especially our Kalpana ma'am, Ruji Singh Garba. Welcome all. So, to make it more official, let me invite, as our sir said, Jarvis. So, he's totally unavoidable. He brings things, very new things to us. So let's see what he has today. Okay, so here he is.
Hey there, it's me Jarvis again. Good evening to all. I welcome all my enthusiastic and exuberant educators of CBSE Bharat Sahodaya. Now it is time to welcome the moderator of the day. Importing all preferences from home interface. Time for action. Good evening to all my respected members of the B tag. Here I proudly present today's moderator of our 165th web training series of Bharat Sahodaya. Dr. Kalpana R has double masters in biochemistry and environmental biology along with a doctorate in biology. She has more than 20 years of teaching experience. She has been working in various capacities in reputed colleges and schools in India and abroad. She started her teaching career as a lecturer in colleges and later shifted to teach school students, since she found teaching in school more interesting and challenging. Her passion in teaching has earned her various accolades like Best Teacher Award in the year 2019. She is a favorite teacher to her students and an inspiring role model for her colleagues. She is currently serving as PGT Biology and Coordinator for Senior Secondary Classes in Arsha Vidya Mandir, Chennai. So I welcome you to moderate this grand session. Please ma'am, over to you.
Warm welcome, Kalpana ma'am. Stage is yours.
Thank you, Arun sir, and thank you, Jarvis. A warm good evening to everyone present today. Before we begin, I would like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Abdul Salam and VTAN for giving me this wonderful opportunity of moderating an interesting webinar today. I also extend a very warm welcome to all the participants. It is indeed a pleasure to have each one of you as an integral part of this webinar as we join together on this awesome journey of discussion on preparing competency-based questions, that is in English, in the 165th web training series. BTAC and the CBSE Bharat Sahodaya community, along with today's remarkably talented resource person, Madam Ruchi Singha, will seek to provide valuable inputs in this yet another session. In this session, we aim to resolve all the queries concerning the preparation of competency-based questions in English for grades 5 to 12. Learning has to go beyond students just mugging up for exams. So these are the words I have borrowed from the speaker of the day, Ms. Ruchi Singha. Ms. Ruchi has put it simply, the students have to be able to think. She will now help teachers deliver high-quality, competency-based teaching and learning and write questions that get students to think instead of just recalling information. So, before we begin with today's session, there are a few things I would like to brief you about. Any query during the session can be conveyed through the meeting chat box. In order to have an interactive experience, you may dispel your doubts by asking questions, but kindly raise your hands virtually and wait for your name to be called out for asking your query. The participants will have the opportunity to receive a certificate only after filling up the certificate and feedback form. The link for the same will be shared at the end of the session. Kindly stay connected till the end of the session. So before we go to the actual session, on behalf of all of us present in the webinar, I would like to thank Dr. Salam for empowering us with such enlightening sessions. So ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Dr. Abdul Salam. He is presently working as the Assessor of National Accreditation Board for Education and Training, Government of India. Dr. Salam has also rendered his services in the capacity of the principal of the Oxford School, Trivandrum. He is the CBSE Resource Person, Master Trainer, CBSE Deputy Training Coordinator of Trivandrum Region, and the patron of Bharat Sahodaya. Dr. Salam is the founder and CEO of BTAG, that is Bharat Transformers Academic Group, a consortium of educators and the teaching fraternity across the globe, connecting them together to empower the nation. Sir, it is indeed a pleasure to have your gracious presence, and I would request you to take over and deliver the welcome address. Sir, please.
Thank you, Kalpana ma'am. Well, respected Raji Sankar ma'am and Mr. Arun Kimani Bakshi ma'am, you are also joined. Yeah, thank you so much. And all the educators, very good evening once again, and hearty welcome to the 165th web training series. A special day today with Ruji Sankar, the much awaited session. And there have been, recommendations and requests from every nook and corner to have competency-based, sessions and how to prepare competency-based questions ever since CBSE has stressed upon the competency of students. It has become a concern for everybody. And I think there is no doubt that Ruji ma'am will help us in all the aspects how to prepare. Yes, it is Ruchi madam's favorite topic as well, as she said. Yeah, so she will help us, unravel the mystery of making competency-based questions. Let's lend our ears to Ruchi Sankar ma'am today, and please make use of this opportunity fully and benefit, yourself, so that students will be very much happy. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you once again, Ruchi ma'am and Kalpana ma'am. Over to Kalpana ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your welcome address. Thanks a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to turn our attention to the main attraction of today's webinar. Joining us today is the highly skilled and talented resource person, Ms. Ruchi Sankar. With a strong educational background, she brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to her role as a freelance CBSE master trainer and a consultant for English as second language in schools. She is also an ELT author, consultant, and materials developer for English in schools. She is the founder of Art Abode, an educational platform which has a simple mission: support teachers of English, discover and explore ideas and concepts that would make their teaching effective, lessons engaging, and their assessments reliable. It also provides access to quality English, time practice resources, so that they can dispense those among the learners with complete faith in the efficacy of the material. After 26 years in the classroom, Ms. Ruchi decided to become her own boss as a freelance teacher trainer and test item writer. She got the assessment bug from a UK trainer whose session on writing test questions Ms. Ruchi attended 3 times because the challenge and the creativity of the session appealed to her. Ms. Ruchi later joined a competency-based education training project led by the British Council and the Central Board of Secondary Education and delivered by UK partners Cambridge and Alpha Plus. She describes the training as fabulous. We are honored today to attend this webinar by an eminent person who will be sharing her expertise with us. With her extensive experience, diverse skill set, and passion for teaching, She is committed to making a positive impact on the lives of students and educators alike. Ma'am, on behalf of everyone present, I welcome you and request you to take over the proceedings of the evening. Please, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Kalpana. You've been very, very generous with such amazing words. I could definitely see your double masters in the research that you have done regarding all details about me. Thank you very much. I am overwhelmed to see so many of you attending this session today. That makes me elated, not because it's houseful, but because so many people are willing to want to know and learn, which is going to definitely impact our children. Himani, I'm especially glad to see you. It's been a while. I will ask you to recite a couple of things, so you might be handy with the microphone going unmuted, right? Yeah, I'll do that. Let me begin by sharing the screen, Kalpana, with your permission. And please do keep a track of any hands raised, because I would depend on you to call out their names. Thank you very much.
Sure, sure.
Let's begin with sharing the screen here. Please let me know if it's visible so that I can proceed. Is this visible, Kalpana? Is the
Yes,
screen
ma'am,
visible?
screen is
Yes,
visible.
great, great, wonderful. So I have been told that I have 90 minutes. I will make sure that I wrap up in time. I'm more than happy to stay on to address queries, but formally I will wrap up at 8:30. You can keep me waiting as long as you want, as long as Kalpana and Dr. Salam are okay with it. I don't mind at all. Today's evening is dedicated to Bharat Sahodaya, 100%. All right, let's proceed. The topic today, competency-based question making. Nothing great about it. It's pretty simple, actually, and I hope that you can say this by the time I end this particular session. Although the disclaimer that I want to share with you is that 90 minutes is nothing compared to years that it takes to pick up this craft. So you need to be kind to yourselves. Do not be harsh on yourselves. Do not get frustrated that we aren't able to make the questions. Baby steps. That's the key. The more you create, the better you will get. Right? So today we are just sort of, biting into it. It's an academically rigorous topic, but I'm going to attempt to make it enjoyable, for the want of a better word. Yeah. Okay, so let me begin by laying the foundation here. This is from the CBSE academic website. The NEP 2020 calls for a shift. Please focus on the highlighted words. It calls for a shift from an assessment system that is summative and primarily tests rote memorization skills to one that is more regular and formative, which is why you have marks for internal assessments. Competency-based, which is what we are going to be talking about today, promotes learning development for our students and tests higher order skills such as analysis, critical thinking, conceptual clarity. I do not want anyone to get confused between competency-based skills that could be core skills or 21st century skills. I want you to focus on the last point, because what we are doing today is competency-based question making, which is competency-based skill called cognitive competencies or critical thinking. There are several competencies, 21st century competencies: collaboration, communication. Communication, again, is highly ignored in our classrooms. And you have creative thinking, etc. But today we are focusing on the competency that is critical thinking, hence analysis, critical thinking, conceptual clarity, etc. For English especially, since junior classes look to classes 9 and 10 to follow their syllabus pattern, for English especially, there are specific competencies clearly listed in the syllabus curriculum document. Clearly, there is no room for doubt. Okay, what are those? Those are mapped to Bloom's taxonomy. We will come to that. No, this is not a lecture on Bloom's at all. I will not be doing that at all. You already know that, right? So let's move on. So critical thinking. This graphic clearly captures, it's one of my favorite graphics. I use it everywhere. This completely captures what critical thinking and competency-based question making is for us. So we have been focusing on this. All right. What we need to do is this. Okay. Except that it is not as simple, right? Because there are other complex layers that are involved, which are pretty simple once you understand it. But otherwise, what is the basic thing that has been recommended? Please move away from what, when, who, where. You can hit the why a little. And then you have to go heavy into this part, right? So that is what we are going to attempt to do today. Will I touch upon this? Yes, I will. Because it is going to be foolish to ignore it completely. Because if the child doesn't know this, how will the child address this, right? So we are going to take this forward. Very simple. In the CBSE curriculum document, the word understand doesn't figure as much as the word comprehend does. They mean the same thing, right? Now, this is the revised Bloom's taxonomy. Everybody knows it. It's all very clear for you. What is most important has been given the wider, broader space. So I don't need to parrot it out for you. However, there are two new segments that have been mentioned in the CBSE curriculum document for 9th and 10th and 11th and 12th, of course. So therefore, since we have teachers who are here from upper primary and also from the middle school, etc., I'm assuming that you would want to know what they are, because you might want to follow suit in your classroom. So those are infer and interpret, right? So they are subparts of one of the competencies, one of the levels here, but they have been clearly mentioned as a separate entity in the syllabus. So you have remember, comprehend, interpret, apply, analyze, infer, evaluate, and create. So the levels at which they are over here, right? Just so you get an idea. So remember, comprehend, interpret, apply are lower order. They are lower order. But that does not mean that comprehend or interpret or apply are not important. They're very important. They're very important. If, for example, you are teaching a class 5 or a class 6, most of your questions are going to be comprehend, interpret, a little bit of apply, some bit of analyze, and a little bit of inference, right? When you go to maybe a class 7 or an 8, then the percentage is going to increase towards in favor of higher order. You would even have evaluate and so on. When you go to 9, 10, then it's quite tilted towards the competency-based or higher order. That means you will have less of comprehension, a bit of interpretation, and a lot of analysis, inference, evaluation, and creation, which is done in the long question or the writing section. So now I'm sure you get the understanding of where we are pitched with interpretation and inference, etc. Right? I'm glad that this is getting recorded. I'm sure it's going to be up. Dr. Salam has always been very kind to share the recording with me too. So, people connected to me also can access it. That is really great. Right? So you could probably revisit if you have any doubt. Now that this is clear, let's move on. Yes, Himani, this is where you come in. Could you
Yes, ma'am.
Recite this for me, please.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky.
Thank you. Thank you, darling.
you,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much. Well done. So, such a difficult poem. I don't want to call it a rhyme. Such a difficult poem, isn't it? Right. So, since it is so difficult, I have chosen this to begin explaining the structure of the questions. There is no point taking any story or anything else because it will interfere. If I take something from the text, it's going to interfere with your understanding because you will start focusing on what your prior understanding of the text is. So I've taken this. Now, what would be a remembering question? Right. First, let me explain, then I'll show you another thing, and then we can sort of, work on building the questions together. So this is a poem. Everybody knows this poem, right? So what would be a remembering question? A remembering question from this poem would be, what is a star compared to in the given lines? Very simple. I'm sure everybody knows the answer. Star is compared to the diamond. Okay, let's try another one. How does the star appear in size? Little, high, bright, shiny. Okay, so the size is being addressed only with one option. The others don't really focus on the size. So it's little. Okay, little star is given here, diamond is given here. So basically, what we have done here is cut, copy, paste. There is no thinking involved. It is cut, copy, and paste. You follow? That is why remembering oblique rote-based questions, oblique memory-related questions are not advisable in assessments. You can do it in class, orally, cut, just to check whether the child has imbibed it or not. Do it. Because based on that, other complex questions would begin, right? So remember is cut, copy, paste. There is no thinking. Who, where, what, all that is cut, copy, paste because the child is just going to go to the text, underline, take it, put it. Earlier in the reading section, what used to happen? The questions used to be more or less remembering. The child used to go copy the whole section and paste it in the copy and rewrite it in the answer sheet. The whole paragraph and the marks had to be given. There's no thinking there. So that is not learning, that is mugging, right? That is memorizing. So that is not done. Now let's go to the next one. Okay. Now, same poem, same 4 lines, and I will take you across the spectrum. All levels of questions just from here, just to prove to you that no content is basic. I keep saying this to all my teachers, especially the senior ones who've been sort of connected with me for the past 3 years, that it is the question that will decide the level, not the text. Text could be anything. Okay. So now, understanding or comprehending, as CBSE says. Okay. So what is main emotion expressed in the given lines? This is not, the answer will not be here. There is thinking involved. Thinking as in, have you understood what is the main emotion? Obviously, the child will not say sad. That is out. So the child will say something, right? So the answer is curiosity. How I wonder what you are. So now, if you don't want to give it like this, you could even give some options to check. So there is admiration, there is happiness, there is faith, and then there is curiosity. So the answer is D, because the main emotion is a curiosity about the star's identity. Imagine, this is a question that is still lower order. It is still just one level above remembering. The design of the question should not make you think, oh, it's difficult. No. What is the child? What are you checking? You're checking that, hey, little one, have you understood? Do you get what this is about? So therefore, understanding is what we called GIST. It's an acronym. How do you remember as teachers what kind of a question will be an understanding question? It will be like GIST, G-I-S-T, the main idea, the supporting details, the summary, and then you have to combine all of this and think critically. So when your question is touching the main idea, supporting details, or the summary, you know that it is a comprehension or understanding question. Right? Okay. So what is the main emotion? The title, whenever you talk about the title, that is always the main idea. Summary, when you put one-liners and say, okay, this particular paragraph is about A, B, C, D. Okay. Or what is the main idea by the writer in this particular paragraph? All those are understanding question. Of course, there's a whole variety. I will show you more later. Yeah. Then you move on to what came after understanding? Interpretation. That is something that has been, it's a part of understanding only, but it has been separated for more fine-tuning. So here we go. Interpreting. Okay, now we've done remembering, which is cut, copy, paste. We've done understanding or comprehending, which is GIST, which is get the main idea, provide the supporting, interpret the supporting details, and summarize, and then critically think. Now, interpreting, look at the question. It will be different from what you have done in remembering and understanding. So, what deeper meaning or symbolism might the star hold? Don't think that my kids are in class 5 or 6, they won't be able to do. I promise you, your children will be able to do. Sometimes the teacher may not be able to do because they are fresh and we have to do a lot of unlearning. Right? So, what deeper meaning or symbolism might the star hold? I wish we could all talk to each other, then it would have been fun, but we'll come to that part of the session as well. Okay, so over here, what deeper meaning? You might say, oh, it's just a nursery rhyme. No. It doesn't matter. Very soon, for the people who are following me on social media, I'll be putting up something like this about I'm a little teapot also. You might want to have a look at that as well. It'll surprise you, right? So, guiding light. So, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. So, for hope, for aspiration, a guide in the time of darkness, okay? A beacon, anything. Right? So the star holds that kind of deeper meaning. So now interpreting, you figured out. Interpreting is an acronym that we say clues. These are hints for you. Don't go and give it to your kids. It's not meant for kids. It's meant for teachers because you are the one who are creating the resource and questions, right? So you would say questions about the context, questions about the language, questions about uncovering the meaning, which is what we are doing over here. Questions about examining perspectives and questions about supporting with evidence. Don't confuse it with evaluation. This is not evaluation. Okay? This is just, can you look at it on the surface and explain, please? Can you dig into it and please, can you tell me what it is? That is the kind of question. Okay? Could you please look into it and help me understand? Okay, you've understood, that is understanding. Now, can you help me understand by taking it a step further? That is interpretation. Okay. So in understanding, a broader thing is given. In interpretation, a specific thing is given and you're supposed to go in deep into it. That's what it is. Both are explaining. Okay. Yeah. Look at the next one. Now, after interpretation, I think we would have application. Huh? I hope so. Yes. Application. Yes. So now for application, what does application mean? Just simply what the word says. You have some information. Now, if I give you something different, can you apply that concept to it? For example, if I were to say, I'll show you a different question, but for example, if I were to say, like a diamond in the sky, it's a simile. So if I say, identify the simile in this poem, and the child identifies, what level is that? That is simply remembering. It is simply remembering. It is rote because the child has learnt that. So therefore, it should be application. How? You would simply say, like in a lot of question papers for senior classes we simply say that look at the following options and identify the poetic device used in the last line. So first, the child has to figure out what is the poetic device in the last line and then check which of the 4 options has a simile. The other options some would have repetition, some would have alliteration, depending on the class, you would put it, right? So now another kind of application. See, how can the phrase, how I wonder what you are, from these lines contribute to cultivating a positive learning environment and promoting meaningful exploration? For junior classes, you can use the previous example. For senior classes, you can use this. To make how I wonder what you are, how does it connect with a positive learning environment? That's a question. So, if the child has understood how I wonder what you are and what is the emotion that is rendered in that, remember the first question we did, what was the emotion? Curiosity. So if the child knows that, can the child apply it to this situation? That's the way the child would apply. Any one answer. Any one answer the child could give, or maybe something else. To say that how I wonder what you are is a good thing in a learning environment because it tuck, 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 tuck. That's application. Application. We are taking a line from there. We are assuming the child has understood what the line is all about, what is the emotion and the feeling and the context of that line, and then saying, if you were to use this line in an environment different from what is there in the poem, what would it generate? That's application. Okay, right? So now application is this. What does it mean? Implement and transfer learning. Okay, IT. Implement and transfer learning. That's what it is. That's how you could remember probably, right? Okay, then you have analyzing. This is problematic. Okay, so now why do you think the star is portrayed as a diamond in the sky? Why do you think the star is portrayed as a diamond in the sky? That is not the question. The question is this one. How does the repetition of the phrase, twinkle, twinkle, little star, contribute to the overall rhythm and effect of the rhyme? That is what it is. You're supposed to analyze. I'm sure as teachers of English, everybody has heard of the phrase critical analysis. Critical analysis, critically analyze. That's all there is to it. You have to break everything into little parts and then examine each part carefully. Therefore, the question. And then the answer is this. Analysis, basically in English, refers to this: examining themes, examining characters and character development, narrative techniques, overall message, and the language. Narrative techniques, poetic devices, etc. All that is analysis. Very often, and I have been guilty of this as well, very often, analysis is often confused with, oh, analysis question means give a reason. To analyze means to give a reason. So all the why questions are analysis questions. No. That is a grave mistake. Okay? Analysis refers to this. Be very careful. All right? And I've shown you an example here. What why thing is, that is called rationalizing. Rationalizing. That is what the why thing is. And the question for rationalizing is, why do you think the star is portrayed as a diamond in the sky? Okay. Or you could say the star is portrayed as a diamond in the sky because. This is not analysis. Analysis means this. That is why even in your LOs published by the NCERT, what is given? These things are given. Character development, narrative techniques, poetic devices, overall message, themes, sub-themes. That is the LO that the analysis question targets. Okay, this is rationalizing. You're not supposed to confuse with rationalizing. So what's the answer for this? If you look at this question, why do you think the star is portrayed as a diamond in the sky? What is the child supposed to do? It's subjectively interpreted, give a personal opinion, provide possible justifications, explanation based on some kind of reasoning. Okay, and there will be different perspectives. Therefore, this kind of question becomes evaluating. That's a much higher level. Okay, so do not confuse analysis by saying, oh, all the because questions are, all the give reason questions are analysis. No, 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 they're not. They're not. Okay, right? I hope this is clear. We'll come to this again, once again. Now, after analysis, I have another question for analysis here. I think all my animation things have gone off. List any one message inherent in these lines. Any one message inherent in these lines. See, what did I tell you? See, examining themes, character development, narrative techniques, overall message. This is analyzing. This is analyzing. Okay. So any one message from these lines. Imagine it is twinkle, twinkle, little star. And we are doing competency-based question making based on this rhyme. The simpler the text, the easier it is to understand a concept. That is where I am coming from. That is where I have taken it. Why I have taken this. Okay, right. Inferring. So what have we done now? We've done remembering. We've done comprehending or understanding. We've done its subpart, which is interpreting. We've done application. We have done analysis, which we have to be very careful. It is more about overall message, narrative techniques, or poetic devices and themes, etc. Now we have inferring. So inferring, when you think of inferring, you have to simply think of another word called investigation, detective, Sherlock Holmes, clues, deducing, figuring it out. That is what inferring is. Okay. Imagine yourself with Sherlock's hat and a lens in the hand. That is what inferring is. What are those clues that you can find, which will give you the answer, which will take you in the direction of the answer, which will become like special pointers saying, go that way, which will help you deduce what is being asked, right? That is why it is also said that vocabulary questions should be inferential. What does that mean? It means that the child should be able to look at the context and deduce the meaning. So if you're still creating questions that say, which word is the same as XYZ from paragraph so-and-so, please stop. Please stop. That is not the way to ask. Okay, right? So, inferring. Let's look at the question. Based on the given lines, what can you infer about the speaker's feelings or thoughts towards the star? So you have to deduce, no? How will you deduce? You will look at some clues. You will look at the exclamation mark. You will look at the fact that it's the child or whoever speaker is calling it a diamond, saying that, I'm wondering, I'm not sure who you are. That's how we know it's a child, because the person is still wondering, okay, is looking upwards. Obviously, it is nighttime. So based on the given lines, what can you infer about the speaker's feelings or thoughts towards the star? So what are the clues? So obviously, we look at the kind of things we can infer. Just look at that. It took me a while to put this down, but it's worth it. Just look at this. Right. So you're just simply looking at the clues from here and then making an inference. You are supporting it is not guesswork. It is systematic inference because it is rooted in the text. Okay, admires the star, perceives the star as something special because it's comparing it to a diamond. There's a sense of awe because it's not accessible. The use of wonder implies a desire for knowledge and a sense of intrigue. So the child could say anyone would be correct. Right. It depends whether you want it to be a 2-marker or a 1-marker. I'm not even getting into marks right now. Okay, right? Be a detective, deduce and figure out. That's it. As simple as that. Now, inference is something that flummoxes the best of the best. So I'm going to make it fun for you. You could cultivate this in the children in the classroom by very simple things. For example, let me do it for you. Look at this. Don't get confused. Tell your children there's a clear difference between observing and inferring. Observing nothing, no? This is not involved in observing. So if you're going to observe this gentleman here, very Brit, the gentleman here, you would say the man is wearing a suit or the man is wearing a red tie. Now, this is your observation. What will be your inference? Your inference would be, the man is wearing a suit. So that's the clue. And what is that clue telling me? That the man is going on an official place or a formal function, is not going for a casual or leisurely activity. Now, another observation, the man is carrying an umbrella. Obviously, so what is the inference? The inference is, because that's a clue, isn't it? So the man must have checked the weather before leaving home, or probably the forecast is rainy, right? So observation and inference. Don't confuse observation for inference. That's not the case. Let me take you further on this. Okay, look at this. So what is the observation here? The observation is that the leaves are wilting or they're turning yellow. So what is the inference? The inference would be, I'm sure everybody must be getting it in their head, cut. So the inference is lack of water, sunlight, nutrition, neglect, too much water, too much sunlight, anything could be this thing. But it's very different from observation. This is the clue. So the child observes the clue and then uses thinking to get to the inference. Okay, so that is it. Look at one more. That's my favorite. So it says the cat is overweight. Yeah, yeah. Kindly note the use of overweight. We don't use fat. It's ridiculous to do that in an educational setup when you're dealing with kids. Yeah. So you have to be sensitive. And then what is the inference? The inference is the cat's owner feeds it too much, or which again you have to be sensitive to, or the cat could have an ailment or a condition, right? Which is why it is overweight. So you have to, in your own subtle ways, take care of these things as well. So now, what's the sum total? The sum total is, this is something that you either see or have sensed or something like that. And this is the process of drawing conclusions. Okay, and then observation is, it's objective, it's concrete, it's just right there, it's just gathering of evidence. Okay, but this is when you start interpreting those evidences. And this will be subjective, which is why your marking scheme needs to have options in the answers, this or this or this or this or anything along these lines. Don't force inferences on children. Because you are interpreting it that way doesn't mean the child also has to infer the same thing. For example, look at this. It's fun. You could do these things in the class. I'm sure your teachers of English, you're brilliant. You would create more like this. Okay, what am I? I can be found in homes and even in office areas. Okay, now they would say something. Note it down on the board. Then in my world, plus size is celebrated. God knows what they'll say. Note it down on the board. My family is varied and each member has a unique appearance. It's the same thing, but you're taking them through the clues till you finally reveal it. So the idea is not who's got it right. The idea is to take them through the journey, because for each point they will think. And what is our job at that point of time? Why do you say so? Why do you say so? Why do you say so? So that you get to know what's going on in their head. Are they following the right process to reach where you want them to reach? So almost all in my family serve humankind by providing comfort and relaxation. I'm often blamed for being partial to my buddy, the TV. I'm non-judgmental though, and warmly embrace anyone who comes to me. So what am I? Irrespective of the weather, the atmosphere I create is cozy. So obviously I'm a couch or a sofa or something like that. So this is something that you are masters, you can create, right? Be careful that, you keep it real, you connect it to issues, okay? Couch potato, okay? So you're doing a lot of things when you're doing all this. You're making them think, right? So this is one way. Another thing which is connected to our text, this is English. So we would probably, make them practice random things, because then when they look at their text, they would be able to do the same exercise. So Meenu entered the classroom with a big smile, her hands full of colorful balloons, and she handed out party hats to her classmates. What can you infer from this? What do you get to know? What do you get to know? That's what you would ask the students. So obviously we are not interacting here. Even if you're writing in the chat box, I'm not accessing the chat box right now. We'll come to that part later. So you would probably say this. They would say something. 100% they would say something. Personally, the first thing when I created this, the first thing I said was, oh, I mean, The school is pretty lenient with its rules. It's allowing all this because I studied in a school that did not allow all of this. Okay, right. And then you could probably take something like this. Tanmay slammed his textbook after finishing his exams and stormed out of the room, ignoring his friends who tried to talk to him. What can you infer from this? Now, these kind of things are there in your stories. They are there in your textbooks. These kind of things are there in the reading passages that the child gets. So if you make them practice with interesting things before you actually take things from the text, it might be a great idea, and I've done it. I'll come to that. Just a second. Let me just finish this. Okay. So you would probably say he's frustrated with the exam, he didn't get expected questions. He wants some time alone to process his emotions, and he's feeling disappointed, etc. All of this is fine. Remember, inference is largely influenced, not largely, to some extent, it's influenced with a lot of prior experiences everyone must have had. Right. So, if somebody might identify with him, somebody might just sort of say, what nonsense, how immature. So the age, the person, your prior experiences, everything is going to come together to help the inference happen. One last one. I hope I don't forget what I was going to say. Yes. So in case I forget, what I want you to remind me is exercises. Just say exercises, I'll remember. So now, as the audience gave a standing ovation, the actor took a deep bow with tears of joy in her eyes and held a trophy in her hand. What can you infer from this? Okay, so the first thing I would say is a female actor. That's the first inference, huh? Her eyes. Then we would probably say that was a great performance as a lead actor. Okay, it's a prestigious award or a recognition, that's a trophy, huh? Exceptional performance because it's a standing ovation, and so much. Look at this one. So you keep saying, what else? What else? Really? And if something is not matching, you say, really? What makes you say that? Make the child quote the clue. The child will not get a clue if there is some random thing the child has said. The child will then learn, oh no, this is, obviously, where does it say so? Where does it say so? Okay, so make them go for the clues. Now, what was it that I wanted to say? Exercises. Okay, so another good way of doing this, which is a part of CB, competency-based pedagogy, we do it a lot in the classrooms, is when you want a particular story or a chapter done, you could simply forget about the chapter, tell them to turn straight to the exercises where the questions are given. Just tell them, okay, I want you in pairs to read the questions only. Then ask them, what do you think the story is about? So the questions are going to act as clues. And then you'd be amazed. They'll come up with a lot of stuff. And they'll say, okay, why do you say this? So they'll say, ma'am, over here in the question, this is this. What do you say? This is okay, here, etc. It's brilliant. It's a great lead-in, a great pre-reading exercise that you make the children do, and then tell them, okay, now I've put up everything on the board that you've said. Just read pages X and Y or 1 and 2 or whatever, 21, 22, and let us see who's got it right. Happy, happy, happy. Everybody is happy. You're doing inferential learning. You're training them to think critically. They are engaged in reading. The class is occupied. It's collaborative. It's happy. The teacher is facilitating, not lecturing. All good. All boxes are ticked. Okay, you could do that. You could, for senior classes, instead of just the questions, you could take chunks out of the chapter and just put it on the board like I did over here, and take your inferences from there. So they're doing the chapter in chunks, and then tell them, okay, you've done it. Now I've shown you 5 chunks you've inferred. Now could you tell me what do you think is the storyline? Obviously it'll work better for fiction, not for non-fiction, etc. Yeah. So inference, that's inference. Don't think that, oh, I have made my child practice 10 sample papers and the child will do very well. No, it won't happen. There is no question that you will do that will come. Everything will be different. No, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, the board paper is too simple. There's a circular that says 50% competency based education questions. Who says the questions have to be difficult? It doesn't mean questions have to be difficult. They will but target the higher order competency, 50%. You understand the magnitude of it all, right? So please, okay? Evaluating. So we've done remembering, we've done understanding or comprehending, we've done a sub-part of it, which is interpreting. We have done application, we have done analysis, not to be confused with because or rationalization or give a reason. We have done inference, okay? And now we are doing evaluating. One more left, creating. So we are doing evaluating. What text are we taking? Twinkle, twinkle. Same thing, okay? Look at the question. How well does the content of the rhyme align with the intended purpose of conveying scientific concepts related to astronomy and celestial objects? Is the rhyme, so how, if you simplify it, what does it mean for junior kids? Do you think the rhyme gives enough information about space and stars? Don't think that, oh, it's just too difficult for our kids. No, that is your skill. If you can take it high up or you can bring it down. I bet you anything. You do these questions even with class 12. The idea is to get them to think, no? It doesn't matter if it's twinkle, twinkle. Okay, so these are the options. Now you have a choice. You could simply say, you could just put the bold parts and say, give reason. Or you could show the bold parts along with the reasons. Entirely up to you. Okay. So this is evaluating. Evaluating obviously is very simple. It simply means justify with evidence, which is why rationalizing, give a reason, comes in evaluating. Justify, give a reason, use the evidence. That is why that comes over here. Okay, so evaluating why not, this is true, this is false because this. This is, I disagree because of this, I agree because of this, I support this view because of this, I contradicted because of, all that is evaluating. Okay, and then you have creating, very simple. It simply means make something new. So therefore, what would the star reply if it could? What would the star reply? I think there should have been a comma there. What should a star reply? What would the star reply if it could? Or you have these kind of questions. You're very, very good with creating this question, these kind of questions. Write a diary entry as a speaker expressing your wish to inculcate qualities you notice in a star. Now you understand why this is the highest level. Because to do this, the child needs to have remembered, understood, interpreted, analyzed, evaluated, inferred, everything. So the higher you go, the lower level gets attached to that level. So to be able to do this, right? To be able to do this, it's very, very important that the child should have understood it thoroughly. Okay. Now that was creating. Would someone, Kalpana, would you just unmute and just assure me that I am audible and visible and the PPT is visible? Could you please say yes or something to me, please?
Yes, ma'am. Everything
Yes.
is
Okay.
going on fine. And I would like to
Good.
share the chat maybe towards the end. I'm making a note of a few wonderful comments which we are coming across.
Ah, okay. Great.
Try to know it now or towards the
Yes,
end.
let's do it now. Let me see what my next segment is. Yes, let's take it up now. Yes, for 5 minutes, let us do it. Yes.
Like most of the participants were very interactive and they were giving out the answers for the questions we were posting there. And many of those were similar to what you had suggested later. And one thing, because from B, which I like, I should share with you, is a
Yeah.
compliment. I have written a small poem kind of thing, which
Yeah.
reads like, Twinkle, twinkle, Ruchi ma'am, how I wonder you did this. Based on one poem as a challenge, you have improved our competencies.
Oh, great.
So
Oh, I'm
I
so
think
glad.
this was a wonderful compliment, which I
Thank
thought I should tell you before I miss out with other information on that chat. So
Thank you.
thanks a
Thank
lot,
you.
ma'am. So
Thank you.
far, we
Thank
never
you.
knew the time was running so fast. Really
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes. Let's carry on. Thank you very much. That has sort of energized me to do things better. Okay, here we go. So, how would the child be able to think critically? The child would be able to think critically if the child reads critically. Hmm? So, a non-critical reader would do just this. And doing only this is going to lead to what? Rote based. This is only cut, copy, paste capability. There's no thinking involved, no? Recognizes what a text says and restates what a text says. So remembering. The CBSE, NCRT, LOs say what? And that is what a critical reader is. Says the child should be able to infer, agree, disagree, understand issues, link evidence, focus on the author's purpose, POV, point of view. Okay? Recognizes bias, imagine. That is a critical reader. We are churning out non-critical readers. Now, if this is what the child is habituated to doing while reading, why won't the child be able to answer the questions, I beg you? So to achieve this, that kind of pedagogical practices or methodologies need to be done in the classroom, but that's a different session altogether. Okay, right. Look at this. Let's do critical reading for this. And you're free to sort of, write in the chat box. I'll ask Kalpana for one or two this thing. Give me a question from here. Give me a question. I showed you all the levels, right? Except remembering, give me any question from here. Why does it have to be big texts? It could be anything, no? I chose this specifically because Kalpana is from the science background. So, yes. Give me a question from here. Anyone? Kalpana, has anybody typed it?
Yes. This from Sonia Verma. What if there is no oxygen?
What if there were no oxygen?
There
Okay.
was no oxygen.
So, what is the answer? People would die, right? People would die. So, otherwise, I would have died due to lack of it. People would die. Okay. So,
And how people used to survive before 1970? This is the question from Ms. Shabnam.
what was the question? Come again?
How people used to survive before 1970?
1770. Yeah. Okay. Before 1770.
Yes. But it is
Yeah.
1970.
So I wonder what the answer is. I wonder what the answer is, because this is supposed to be a joke. So you can't do a serious question on a joke. Obviously, people survived. There was no issue. But I guess that is what you're wanting to ask. Great. Thank you for engaging. Look at this one now. Look at the questions, right? If this conversation did not take place in a science class, which subject could it possibly be related to? Think of the question. Forget about the answer. I don't want you to answer. That's not what I'm looking at. I want you to look at the possibilities of the different kinds of questions. Look at another one. What does the girl's response reveal about the relationship of students with their teacher? What kind of a teacher would it be? That the child feels comfortable being so cheeky? What kind of an environment in the class would it be? Look at this. Are any of these questions copy-paste? No. Look at this one. How would you describe the teacher's most likely reaction upon hearing the student's response? I purposefully did not put angry here because that could have been a possibility. So my point is, my dears, you need to start thinking beyond what you're reading. Only then would you challenge your children. Okay, right. Now, how is it that you should be able to do this? How is it that you can do it? So if you have a pen, pencil, you can note it down, paper, whatever. I don't know how you work. Do you want to, I don't know, do you click, or I'm not going to get into that. Okay. So text structures. I have done this a lot, many times. If you know your text structures, you can, begin creating questions based on this. What are these text structures in literature? What are these text structures? These are the text structures. Finding similarities and differences, predicting, summarizing, inferring, sequencing, identifying the main idea, fact or opinion, cause and effect, writer's point of view or writer's purpose. You can target these areas. So on one hand, you have text structures. On the other hand, you have the ladder of competencies. Now, if I need to make a question on fact or opinion, I can create the question. It could be a remembering question. It could be a understanding, interpreting. I could climb the ladder. This is a text structure. Now, which level I want to create, it's up to me. And your LOs and the CBSE curriculum documents states fact or opinion. It's very important. Your students of literature, your masters of the subject, your graduates in that subject, you should be knowing that these are the text structures. It varies a little from fiction to non-fiction, but we will do that in some other session. Okay. Now, if you target this, now, if you want to do identify the main idea, what kind of questions would you do? You could simply say identify the main idea. You could say give us the title. You could talk about the topic sentence. You could talk about the gist of the main idea and say guess the main idea, MCQs. You could do so many things. Right? So text structures are extremely important for you to know. Okay. And then the next thing, now you would say, okay, man, you have created these questions, but we are just about beginning. We are blossoming. We are these new buds in spring. So we need some kind of assistance. So the assistance, my very favorite, is the question stems. Now, I'd like to show you something. Okay. Yeah. Let me just go to this. Is this visible? I hope this is visible. Yeah. Kalpana, is this visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good, great. Now you please don't kill me. I've just done Twinkle, Twinkle. Now I'm back to the thirsty crow, the so-called fable. Now, how many questions do you think are possible from here? Just write in the text box, how many questions from the thirsty crow? How many questions can we do? Is somebody written a number? How many questions can we make from thirsty crow? 10?
5, 10, 10 or more, 30.
10 or more. Okay,
15.
great. 30, yeah? 30, yeah? Wow. Okay. So I have made 60 questions. 60 questions. Okay. Now I'll show you what has helped me make those 60 questions, right? So now, look, you have questions, remembering questions. What did the crow do? What happened? Who spoke to the crow in the story? It depends. I could change my story. Comprehending questions. Okay. Look at the questions. Main idea. Distinguish between the crow's problem and the solution. Similarities and dissimilarities. Text structure. Provide an example of how persistence can lead to success. So if the child has read any other story or any other poem, something like that. Then interpreting. Look at it. The questions this is not meant for babies. You could even give it to senior students to do these. Apply. Look. Okay. Analyze. See? Look at this. How is the crow's behavior similar to a person with problem-solving skills? Analyze. Remember what I said? In analysis, don't confuse it with reason. Look at that. Infer. How can you infer? What can you infer about the crow's problem-solving abilities based on its use of stones to raise the water level? From the crow's behavior, what can you deduce about its determination and persistence? So infer means you give the answer and then you attach the clues to say, this is why we can say this. Then evaluate. Prove that determination is a better solution than giving up based on the fable. Justify with evidence from the text. That's evaluation. Defend the view that persistence leads to success. See? And then you have create. How many questions? Ta-da! 60 questions. 60 questions from a fable. So how did I do it? I did it by, what was I showing you first? I did it by using Bloom's question stems. If I want everybody to go to Google and write Bloom's question stems. So when you do that, you would find these. You can do that in your own time. Look at the screen. Everything that I've shown here, I have used to make the questions. 60 questions, 60. Look, 60. And I made a question for each. If you use Bloom's question stems, what happens is you don't have to worry about these things. You will automatically know that whatever the question is, it is in this category because Bloom's question stems are constructed according to the level. So you know that this is an analytical question because this is the stem that I have used. Okay. Yes. Does somebody want to say something, ask something? You can write it in the chat box. I will take a couple of questions on this. Please tell me you've understood Bloom's question stems. Okay.
Ms. Ruchi, there was a question from a Kanchan and she wants the actual meaning of fable.
Fable. Oh, fable is a fable is a story in which your animals, etc., also talk, and there is a message. I don't like saying moral anymore. We don't say that, but there is a learning or a message towards the end. That's a fable. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
You have
there
the
was request from one of the participants asking if this document can be shared or can we Google it? You asked us to Google it.
yeah. You can
The
Google
question
it.
is
Yeah. These, of course, I've made a few myself also, but that is enough to give you an idea. It's a good place to start. You know what I mean? It's a good place to start, right? Yeah. Okay. I think I've made this clear. Any other question on this? No, I guess everybody's clear. Bloom's question
So,
stems. Huh, good. Now let's get
and
back.
there is another request.
Uh-huh.
Like once again, they wanted a difference between reasoning and analysis.
Oh,
If you
you
can
want me to?
explain, please.
No.
Yeah, there is a request from one of the participants.
Yeah, we can do that towards the end, or we can, let me do it right now. Analysis is breaking something down in little parts. Let me take you to that slide. I think it would be a good idea to, here it is. And here we go. See, this is what I want you to remember when you're doing analysis. This part. Target this. See, when you want them to analyze something, you're looking for, can they critically view it? Can they appreciate it? Can they look at these features that have gone into constructing that piece and analyze it, right? Rationalizing or giving a reason is this. Provide justification, give an opinion, support your reasons with evidence, etc. So therefore, it becomes evaluating. Don't confuse. Okay. Just because it's a because answer doesn't mean it's an analysis answer. Be careful about this. Okay. I'm not saying because answer cannot come in analysis, but what is it that you are asking? If it's a stupid question, then they will give a stupid answer. No. So the quality of the question and where is that question getting targeted really matters. Okay. Remember what I told you in the beginning. It's not that simple. It's work in progress, right? You need to be able to understand, try, follow, look at the sample papers, clone the design, do your own thinking, that. Okay? Yeah. Now, where were we? I think we were at Bloom's. Oh, I'm so sorry about this. I think I should find a better way to reach where you want to reach. Okay. Yes, we've done this. And here we go. Okay. Clear? Okay. I'm sure some of you must have already opened the tabs to Bloom's question stems, etc. So now I'm going to do my favorite. This is my favorite piece. I've done it in a lot of sessions. So I think even when I was down south, I have used this particular piece, but let us see. Look at this. 7-year-old Tina walks to the Sunday vegetable market with her mother every week in the morning. Tina carries her own bag for the leafy vegetables and also helps her mother at the market. Just because I've done Twinkle Twinkle and a story, I thought I should do some narrative also. Tina's mother likes listening to Tina talk about her friends while walking. Tina always gets a chocolate ice cream on her way back from the market. If you have the Bloom's question stems open, you might want to think about questions for this. Let me showcase some just to cement your understanding of what we've already done for the past many minutes. Okay, here we go. List any 2 activities that Tina engages in during her weekly visits, etc. What will the child do over here? Cut, copy, paste. So What level is this? This is remembering. Are we clear? This is revision for you. Okay. So that is what it is. The child is just going to take from here and put it here. There's no thinking involved, right? So this is remembering. Now, the same piece, but a different question, interpretation. What significance does the ritual of Tina getting a chocolate ice cream on her way back from the market hold in terms of her emotional connection to this whole Sunday vegetable market routine? Basically, what you are asking the child to do is, what did I tell you? Comprehension means have you understood? Interpretation means you are giving one specific context and asking the child to deep dive into it. So, you've given the options. Can someone think and type the answer? A, B, C, or D. That's all I want you to type. Think carefully. Because it's a slightly, it's a question that sort of, is layered. That is why the options are given. You can do it without options also. You can do it without options also. For junior students, you could simplify it. Okay, yes. What are the answers that you see? A, B, C, or C? Huh? C. Very good. Yes. C. 1, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 3, 4, and 5. Obviously, it is not 2. Everything else is suitable. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Very nice. Very nice. So you've kind of caught on. Very good. Very good. Now imagine such a question is impossible to crack without thinking. What did you all have to do? You had to ask yourself, does it serve as a reward for completing her task? Yes, because she did complete her task. It creates a positive association with the market routine. So why was it a positive association? Oh, because she spent time with her mother. And then it signifies a special treat shared with her mother. Yes, her mother gets it for her, so it's special. It represents a moment of celebration for a successful market visit. Yes, all's well that ends well. So look at the kind of thinking the child is going to be doing. Right, which is why it's interpretation, it's not comprehension. It's a little more. Right, look at another one. Complete the sentence appropriately. The use of descriptive language in describing the Sunday vegetable market enhances the reader's experience because, just tell me the level. I want you to think. Which level? Let me tell you, it could be evaluation, or it could be analysis, or it could be comprehension. What is it? Anyone writing something?
Yes, analysis they have written.
Wow. I am so thrilled. Let's find out. Let's find out what it is. Yes. But again, look, it is touching upon the language. It's asking you to dissect what the language is doing, but it's still a because question. Remember what I told you. It can be a because question, but the focus is something else. Right? Okay. It's not asking for a reason per se of the content. It's asking you to dissect and then explain. Right? So you have the answers. I'm sure you could use different words for the answers, etc. Right? So here it is. Look at another one. What effect does the writer's decision to focus on Tina's actions while omitting details about Tina's mother have on the narrative? It's all about Tina. Mother, nothing has been told about the mother. Tina likes this, Tina goes this, Tina that. What effect does it have on the narrative? This is also analysis, because we are talking about character. We are talking about figure it out, think, analyze, how would it affect? Okay. So what can you infer about Tina's sense of responsibility and independence based on her actions at the Sunday vegetable market? So obviously it is inference. The keyword is over here. All right. Support the view that going vegetable shopping with her mother is a learning experience for Tina. So you have to support the view, evaluate it, give evidence, give your opinion, justify it. So it's evaluation. But just look at the questions. It's the same. It's such a simple piece. So you have to think to get the kids to think. Okay. Write the kind of conversation Tina and her mother might have had on their way to the market. Creation. Obviously, that conversation, it's an extrapolatory long question. Obviously, the conversation is going to be about friends. Tina's mother likes listening to Tina talk about her friends while walking. This is perhaps the only thing about Tina's mother that we get to know here. Okay. Now, look at the kind of questions. This is something I've already done. So just look at the kind of questions. So much of variety, so many ways that you could ask. And this is just one paragraph. Imagine when you have 4, 5, 8 pages of a chapter. Imagine the celebration of thinking that you can do with your children. Okay. Last few minutes that I have, there is something called analogy questions, right? A lot of people confuse analogy questions to be analytical questions. What I have to share with you, and this is the first time I'm doing it in a session, what I have to share with you is analogy questions are not just analysis. There could be 3 levels of analogy questions. Let me show you an example. Compare the analogy between Tina's role at the Sunday vegetable market and a team player in a sports game. This is analysis. Another way of doing this would be Tina's role at a Sunday vegetable market is to the overall market experience, just as a team player in a sports game, A, B, C, D. So what has the child to analyze? The child has to analyze the relationship between Tina's role and the overall market experience. So the overall market experience was happy because she was with her mother, hence success of the team. Team player in a sports game is equal to success of the team. This is analysis. Another kind, see, I've put in the reason as well. Both Tina and a team player play crucial roles in achieving a positive outcome. Okay, so the final outcome is the team's success. Okay, look at the next one. Comment on the analogy of Tina's Sunday vegetable market routine as a symbol of family bonding and shared responsibilities. Analogy questions could be like this, or they could be like this as well. Now, this is not analysis. This is interpretation. Interpretation. You have to interpret. Sunday market routine, family bonding. Over here, it will be C. So these are not simple. Don't randomly just put anything. Don't create these questions if you're not confident and trained enough. It might just end up being counterproductive. Both scenarios, C. Why C? Because both highlight the importance of working together, fostering connection. So you have to interpret what is the connection here before you select. Okay. Another one is evaluation. Analogy questions. That could be evaluative. Look at this. Tina's active participation in the market is to her development of independence and responsibility, just as dash journey of growth and maturation. So obviously, this is not growth and maturation. This is not growth and maturation. This is not growth and maturation. This is growth and maturation. So obviously the answer is D. Both are showing you have been able to evaluate. Both are showing a transformative process. Okay. So now your question would be, how do we inculcate critical thinking? Answer is very simple. My favorite is the first one. Talk less, ask more. Talk less, ask more. Ask more, facilitate, ask more. Please give them enough time to think. Please move from simple to complex. Please allow them opportunities. It's called learning opportunities. Allow them learning opportunities. Avoid yes, no questions. Don't presume. Will this happen? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Are? What after? Don't expect them to naturally give you a reason. The question has not asked it. Okay. And please ensure that and allow children to discuss among themselves. And please ensure equal opportunities. Just because XYZ, Jill, Jane, Julie, and whoever are raising their hands all the time doesn't mean you don't give attention to others. Equal opportunity, right? So from my side, I think it's 8:30. I think I'm on time, thankfully. All right, then. Here we go. I hope that was meritorious in some way and it wasn't a waste of evening for you all. So from my end, I think that's a wrap.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. So your words of wisdom have added to the intellectual pursuits of all the participants. Seeing the comments, because the time constraints, I'm not able to read out all the comments.
Yes.
But
yes.
The most frequent message we received in the chat was like the informative session, excellent session, and they got various insights into how to prepare questions. And one participant has also mentioned like they were able to think in another way, like from the routine, like how they were preparing and all that.
Yeah.
And there was a question from one of the participants asking if a story always need a model. When students write story, does it always end with a model?
Well, to answer that question, first of all, in the school of thought I come from, we do not say moral. Moral is very preachy. Moral is very factual. A moral is very universal. Might come into this room. Anyway, so therefore, what do we use? We use the word message, we use the word learning. That is more democratic in nature. So you might want to start doing that with the children. To answer your question, no, it's not compulsory. But if the child feels that there is a lesson, that's great, because the child is able to interpret the main idea. So allow that to happen. I read another question that said, can I use Bloom's question stems to create a class 8 paper? Yes, you can, but be careful that you are using it correctly. You can. For sure you can. You can. Now, for example, the Bloom question stem is just a stem. You might want to use that stem to do a fill-up kind of a question, MCQ kind of a question, a true-false kind of a question, but you will get to know the level at which it is pitched. The Bloom's stems will help you that much.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. I hope this has answered the query. And now I would like to quote your words after one of your intellectual training sessions, where you said, I can literally see the bulb on their head light up. So these are exactly your words. It's just a question of giving teachers direction because they know their subject. In today's session, I'm sure you have given us a direction for all of us, all educators here. And these experts in their subjects might have applied the skill of preparing competency-based questions. And now, I would like to know if there are further question and answers to Ms. Questions to Ms. Ruchi.
Oh my God.
Educators can type it out on the chat box. Yes. Shifali has a question. She has raised her hand.
Oh,
Yes.
very good evening, ma'am. It's
darling.
always a pleasure to attend your workshop. It's been so many years I'm associated with you. So whenever I attend your workshop, I really get a lot of insights. I'm a young educator, and it's all because of your teachings throughout that I'm able to go for board checkings till now. So very well, ma'am. And when I went for board checking this year, there were so many things which were not told during that checking. Because I attended a workshop with you, I was able to enlighten them all, and I quoted you. So there are so many things. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks
Thank you,
for the
Shifali.
incredible work that you do. It's
Thank you,
much
thank you.
appreciated.
Thank you. Bless you. Thank you.
Okay.
Any more questions? Or anybody wants to say something?
We can wind up, ma'am.
Okay.
I would like to extend our gratitude and appreciation to Ms. Ruchi Senda for sharing us with boundless discourse. I'm sure we will apply this in our teaching modus operandi and ensure our young learners to reap the maximum benefit out of it. Dear participants, please note that the link for certificate and feedback form is already posted in the meeting chat box. Kindly save that, and you're requested to fill up the form with all the necessary details. I, Kalpana, along with the CBS Bharat Sahodaya, would like to thank Ms. Sengar once again for her gracious presence and her enriching experience. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Abdul Salam for his magnanimous support and guidance to the teaching fraternity. Thank you, sir, for such a great opportunity. Also, a big thanks to the technical team and Mr. Arun Mohan, sir, for yet again a flawless execution of today's session. And most importantly, thank you to all the participants for your enthusiasm, for your comments, and I sincerely hope we earned the privilege of your time. Over to Salam, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ruchi, ma'am. Serious learning was taking place. Thank you so much, but in the simplest way. That is the highlight of the session. Very simple. I don't think that anybody would teach as simple as that. So we are very much blessed with your enlightening, and so many teachers have benefited from your session, no doubt. And again, they will look at this recording for reference. So participants, this will be there on YouTube, and also I will be sharing with you, ma'am, so that you can share with others. So thank you so much, educators, academicians, for joining with us and learning from the experienced teacher. You must have understood, the way madam was explaining things, the voice modulation and all is a model for us to, what do you call, adapt. So it is very important that, the teaching should be as simple as this. So I'm pretty sure that everybody has got the idea completely, and you are going to use it properly. And you must have realized the mistakes in framing competency-based questions. And please try again and again and take it. Do not take it. It is a burden or so difficult and all. Madam has simplified it. So let us. But you have to work on it. Let us try with all the Bloom's taxonomy terms, the question terms and all, and definitely we can help the students. Otherwise, we will be misguiding the students with wrong questions and all. Though we are expecting to enhance their competency, but if we are not in the right way, we will not be getting the output properly. So thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you all. Thank you, Kalpana ma'am, for the wonderful work. Your voice was having some troubles. The system, I think your connectivity and all that you could check next time. Arun Mohan sir, thank you for all the innovations with AI and all. Very, very happy to see you with us this evening, and have a good night. Thank you. Thank you, madam. Good night, ma'am.
Good night. Good night. Good night, everybody.